Introduced 6 years ago with Resident Evil 7, the RE engine has since become developer Capcom's preferred technology for all its own AAA projects, and for good reason. Whether it's Devil May Cry 5, Monster Hunter Rise, or even Street Fighter 6, all push the engine in wildly different ways. And today, the latest project sporting the RE engine splash screen is of course Exoprimal, perhaps the most over-the-top concept to use the technology. Released just this month, my Digital Foundry colleague Oliver has already given the game a tech analysis, complete with comparisons, frame rate analysis and more. But for this tech deep dive, in this video brought to you by Digital Foundry and Exoprimal, I had the opportunity to speak with key developers at Capcom Japan to talk about the origins of the game, about its underlying technology, its ray tracing features, and crucially, the challenges in making it a cross-gen online project running on everything from last-gen consoles right up to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. Announced just over a year ago in 2022, Exoprimal is very much its own beast. I'd personally describe it as Overwatch meets Titanfall 2 via Jurassic Park, but even then there's plenty of unexpected twists as new enemies and new mechanics are introduced. The story is suitably tongue-in-cheek too. You're sent to the paradise South Pacific island of Bikatoa to investigate why dinosaurs are appearing through portals. T-Rexes, Raptors, Pterodactyls, you name it. These hapless dinos tumble out of the sky in droves. And this is Exoprimal's key hook, the sheer number of creatures filling out the city streets for you to scoop up into the air in a combo, to electrocute, to freeze, or set ablaze. The main mode is called Dino Survival, where 5 versus 5 human players start out with exosuits designed for combat, support, or tank roles. For the first 2 of 3 rounds of a game, the 2 opposing teams fight the dinosaurs in parallel, appearing as red spectres, unable to interact with each other. Objectives are tackled as they appear, culling dinosaurs, defending zones, or escorting a payload, and then, in the final mission, the 2 squads are able to square off against each other amidst a dinosaur horde. Exoprimal's design is quite unlike any other RE engine title. The focus on this brand of extreme action, the chaos of cramming the screen with raptors, explosions, and shields is a winning formula, and the best bit, as the island's mysteries unfold via logs in this database, more extravagant set pieces appear in the game. We get mutant dinosaurs, for example, spewing toxic lava, and most impressively, there are the so-called mega swarms, giant portals that spew thousands of these creatures on the city, almost like a salt shaker. It's a formidable sight to behold, and all of this runs on systems like the base PS4 and Xbox One, right up to PS5 and Series X, and in online crossplay to boot. The big question then, how was this achieved? Well, I had a chance to speak directly to Kazuki Abe, Exoprimal's technical director. When asked about the inspiration for Exoprimal, his answer was surprising. In summary, Capcom obviously has a history of making action games, notably Monster Hunter, but often with a smaller number of players online, facing off against 1 or 2 large creatures. The guiding idea for the team with Exoprimal though, it was to take the Monster Hunter format to start, and then increase the number of monsters to an almost impossible number. And then, to counterbalance that threat, players are given the tools, the exosuits, to stand a chance of fighting back. Now, it was stressed to me that dinosaurs were always part of the vision here for Capcom, the idea being to create a kind of contrast, a split between technology and nature, between the most powerful technology mankind could develop in the future, against the strongest adversaries of the past. That explains the prehistoric theme, but just what is the limit here? How many dinosaurs are possible on screen at peak? Well, Abe-san confirmed to me that the maximum number possible, in the extremes with the mega swarms, is up to 10,000 dinosaurs. Of course, this 10,000 number is mostly comprised of the raptors, the lower detail smaller dinosaurs who scramble over each other. Also, these giant swarms only appear in specific set-piece moments, notably later in the game, and so, in practice, most of the earlier missions focus on more manageable pockets of dinosaurs, perhaps in the hundreds to my count. Still, that's the peak number. Hitting 10,000 dinosaurs was the team's biggest challenge, I'm told, but also their proudest accomplishment given it was made possible on every platform. So yes, that does mean 10,000 Raptors also appear on PS4 and Xbox One systems, just like PS5 and Series X. And clearly this was a must, given online play is cross-platform, and no system could lose out in terms of the game's fundamental mechanics. Impressively, the game does hold up on the older Jaguar CPUs of last-gen systems, though to help offload some of the processing load on all consoles, Capcom opted to use dedicated servers to track all 10 players, the many dinosaurs, and the game logic. Now, you might have noticed something curious here, that the Raptors left their shadows behind in prehistory. Asking the team about why some dinosaurs appear shadowless, it turns out this was a crucial trade-off for performance. In rendering so many creatures in real time at once, of course, something had to give. In the end, shadows on the Raptors specifically are switched off, while the other creatures, the larger T-Rexes for example, retain them. Also, in the interest of competitive fairness online, the team wanted all systems to work from the same visual quality level, and so this is the result for even PC systems on max settings too, to keep visibility in line across all formats. The thinking being that the sheer number of Raptors on screen is worth that trade-off to keep the frame rate stable on every machine, old and new, while still hitting an overwhelming number. Speaking on console optimization, the project began with newer PS5 and Series X systems as a priority. The goal, it seems, was to land the best image quality possible for the game there first, though as development progressed, Abe-san explains that last-gen memory allocation was also factored in. Whether it's the character model detail, the backdrop density, the effects quality, or the UI, the team tried to keep the game's visuals consistent on base PS4 and Xbox One, and from my time with it so far, the core framework for each level is intact at least. The biggest difference is that, for example, PS4 runs at 1080p with a 30fps cap. As for PS5 and Series X, well, we get the works there. Each targets 60 frames per second at 4K resolution via checkerboarding, while Series S guns for 1440p. It's also confirmed that PS5 and Series X use equivalent settings to PC's Ultra settings, and so we get much improved reflection coverage, shadows, and textures over the last-gen versions in particular. The only limit here on the newer consoles is in ambient occlusion quality, which is dropped a preset compared to PC's very best. Also, PC does obviously have extra exclusive features in the form of toggles for AMD's FSR2 upscaling technology, which was added just for launch, plus variable rate shading, or VRS. So here's the twist. Ray tracing is enabled in Exoprimal on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC, and is used specifically in the game's cutscenes. In comparing PS4's cutscenes, which have no ray tracing features enabled, directly to PS5's, where they are, we're able to see the difference. Impressively, Abe-san confirms that the ray tracing used here encompasses 4 key technologies. That is, ray traced reflections, ray traced global illumination, ray traced ambient occlusion, and ray traced shadows. So yes, that's 4 ray tracing technologies engaged at once, albeit only during Exoprimal's in-engine cutscenes, while gameplay reverts to typical rasterized techniques. So, in example, RE Engine's ray traced reflections are easy to see in the upgrade on glossy floors, wet tables, and dampened roads. Note how there's no disocclusion artifacts on the floor here as our character moves in front of the reflection. It's a great use of the ray tracing technique, even if it does switch off for gameplay. Moving on, alongside ray traced reflections, we of course have ray traced ambient occlusion on PS5 here as well, and Series X by extension. And so, shading between objects, around character faces, is more thoroughly applied. In some scenes it has this transformative effect on character shading, especially next to the non-ray traced PS4 cutscenes. And next up, the game's ray traced global illumination setting has a big impact as well. For example, light and colour bounces from this character's skin onto his collar and vice versa, illuminating both in the process. In outdoor scenes especially, the hue of the concrete is also drastically altered based on Capcom's simulated indirect light bounce. Plus, using this shot as an example again, the game's ray trace shadows are also able to create hard or soft shadows based on an object's proximity to area lights or the sun. At the heart of Exoprimal is of course the RE engine. In the past, Capcom has used Epic's Unreal Engine for the likes of Street Fighter V, but in recent years, most of its AAA outputs has made this switch to its own in-house tech. So, speaking on this point, and just why the transition was made, Abe-san mentions the team is very happy with how the technology in RE Engine has progressed over the years. Since it debuted with Resident Evil 7, it's really gone from strength to strength, being used on multiple types of games like Devil May Cry 5, Street Fighter 6, and Monster Hunter Rise. In fact, even Ghosts 'n Goblins Resurrection uses the same engine as a foundation. For Exoprimal in 2023 then, the team explains that RE Engine has the distinct advantage of being worked on internally at Capcom. Or in other words, it allows access to Capcom's engineers at any time to add features as needed for any particular game. The biggest benefit in Exoprimal's case? Well, that'll be managing the CPU and memory load closely on every console, especially when dealing with the huge waves of dinosaurs on screen. In order to hit their frame rate targets, using RE Engine made a huge difference. This ability to make a cross-generation online game like this on a scalable engine pays dividends here, and given the popularity of Epic's Unreal Engine right now, it's refreshing to see Capcom go its own route, to try something different. After all, every RE Engine project to date has benefited from a similar level of custom tailoring. Whether it's Resident Evil 7 with its VR support, whether it's Devil May Cry 5 with its detailed character motion capture and ray trace reflections on PS5 and Series X, or whether it's Monster Hunter Rise, which pushed for scale with more open, dense environments. And of course, most recently, Street Fighter 6 came to be with detailed muscle deformation tech on characters via the RE Engine, all running with some of the best netcode in the series' recent history. The list goes on, and looking to the future, we even have the likes of the upcoming Dragon's Dogma 2, pushing this tech into the domain of open-world RPGs. In Exoprimal then, we have perhaps the most extreme action game built on RE Engine to date, and it's a game that continues to surprise as more missions unlock. With any luck, many of the tech innovations here will go on to roll out on other Capcom games as well. The extent of the ray tracing support here is a serious plus of course, even if the focus is on cutscenes. But the more unique hook of Exoprimal, the excess of up to 10,000 dinosaurs on screen, the 5v5 action, is perhaps its most defining feature, the key point that separates it from the rest of Capcom's catalogue. Again, a huge thank you to Abe-san for the insights here, and hopefully this was an interesting look back at the engine itself over the years. But that's all from me today. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to like or subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell for instant notifications as any new video lands. To get a high quality version of this video, check out our Patreon at digitalfoundry.net, and to get in touch directly, just use Twitter. But from me for now, thanks for watching.